per hour quite easily. So as you see, you'll probably see the front sweeper collectors off, buckets off. Say the lads have took it on a truck for me while I was greasing it up. So should be pretty light. And then I say I've got no planer on the back as well. So should be pretty good. So yeah, I thought I'd talk in this video if you can hear me or anything. Probably need to invest in a microphone, but you know, here's obviously the alternatives, the competition, and all that. Although I don't think there is competition for this, but there's many people out there that think they're not going to let me go. I think a big yellow. Yeah, obviously, see, you know, putting it against a traditional team, you know, traditionally still saw, breaker, obviously all the health and safety issues that come with that. But you know, people always comment, I can do that quicker by hand. You know, and I always say it's, you know, impossible to do it quicker by hand. There's no, it's just, you know, night and day, impossible. Yeah, if you do, you know, potholes here, there, everywhere, you know, fair enough, you might be quicker fleeing in a van, but it's the consistency, health and safety, you know, you're removing a one hit with this machine. So traditionally I don't think there's any comparison, even if you had a group of operatives, you know, on a patch, you know, you can just tell the untold damage, health and safety wise, personal health, and obviously how long it would take them over this machine. It's not really worth talking about. So then I suppose you're getting into the, what other machines are, road mender, I won't bother. I suppose fine if you're on a country lane, but nobody wants tar, bitumen all sprayed up on the vehicle, and you're not getting a permanent fix, are you? You know, you're basically putting a plaster over that bit of road, that pothole, and to be fair with you, I'm all for doing a permanent fix there and then. If you've got the kit on site, investing, you know, you want to be doing a permanent repair, not, you know, a substandard repair or a temporary fix. Obviously, you know, temporary fixes are there, middle of the night, main roads, you know, fair enough, you can't get away with that, you know, like your bag tarmac, but I don't know why there's so much traffic on here, but you know, the road mender, that sort of thing, you know, spraying patches, no, you might as well leave that in the yard. I don't see any need for that. Then obviously you got your, what are they, you know, where it cooks up the road, whatever you call them, you know, heats up the road again. But if you ever been working near one of them, the amount of, you know, once you're heating up that road, you don't know who laid it, what conditions it was laid in, what contaminants were laid under, or anything. You're basically heating up that road, and then the operatives are breathing all that in right next to it. I suppose to me it's worse than dust. You don't know what carcinogenics are in that road surface prior. You know, if it's an old road surface and then you're heating it up, you know, you're putting them operatives at huge risk, you know, of cancer and other, you know, nasties. When you think that road's been heated up and then, you know, reformed, it's not the way that I think things should be done. We had a demo quite a few years ago, so I'm only talking of, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, and to be fair, all the operatives walked away from it because of the carcinogenics that it was kicking out, the plume and the heat, you know, and quite rightfully, you know, when we all walked away, it's just not what should be done this day and age. And yeah, I don't think you can't do that big of a patch either with it, but I'm just talking on previous experience, so it might work for people, it might not, but I'd leave that one back in the yard as well, really, to be fair with you. And JCB aren't paying me to say any of this, so it's in my own personal opinion. So don't go jumping up and down that I'm getting thousands from JCB, that I don't. So yeah, personal that I've tried. And then obviously you're getting into your, you know, your pavers, your planers. Obviously planes, fantastic big areas, but you have to have a big area for it to go at. But then a planer, you know, you're pretty limited. You've got one kit, for how brilliant they are, you know, if you do big areas, wow, yeah, you know, if you want a planer on site, rip out, you know, you can't beat it for your big 1,000 squares or your big road recons, resurfacing. But then, you know, as a highway authority, or, you know, as a one-man band or anyone doing patches or anything like that, you know, planers are not the cheapest thing in the world, and they have one function and one function only. Whereas, you know, I'd say they are brilliant, but it's just one function, and that is it really. You can't take attachments off, you can't turn it into something else. Plus you need an Arctic or, you know, a trailer to take it to site, so it's an extra bit of kit on site that's in the way. And you need a specialist driver to move it about and all that. So then you started talking silly money, and, you know, to me, for what I use machines for, work area and all that, a paver just wouldn't. A paver's no comparison to this. Yeah, you're doing the big areas, you know, done up to 1,000 square with this, but, you know, you usually go to about 500 square easily with it. But yeah, you know, a 500 plus, you know, planer is where you want to be, but, you know, that brings all its different challenges, that brings us all its different expenses. Just go silence this phone. Actually, no one wants to hear that ringing. So yeah, and then obviously then you've got to go, how are you getting it up into the back of a wagon, so you need bigger trucks. So it just gets up to expensive, and, you know, not cost effective for what we are doing. Obviously pavers are a different thing. Obviously you can't lay tarmac with this at the moment, so there's no point discussing that. Then you've got the multi-hog. I say I'm not paid by JCB or anything, but the multi-hog, I'd just leave that in the yard if you've got one. We had a demo 5-6 years ago, and yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said on the multi-hog. When you compare it against this, it's not worth even getting out the yard, to be honest with you. How limited it is. If you've ever been in one, I think the driver needs to go to the dentist every night. And personal opinion, but I'm not going to waste any more of my breath on comparing that to this. It's, you know, no comparison. I'm sure not that anyone will ever watch these videos and complain about it, but if they do, sorry about that. That is my opinion, and all the rest. It's, yeah, less said about that the better. And then I'm trying to think of anything else comparative that you could have on there. Not really anything else you could do with the machine. You know, we used to have backhoes, used to have mini diggers, used to have load-all, still got a load-all for loading gritters. You know, I don't think you can get away from a load-all loading gritters for speed, ease and safety. Yeah, you can load it with this, but do you really want to get salt grit around the rams of the steel wrist? And I'm not going to start splitting it at the pins to then put it all back on it. I just don't see the logic in that really. Obviously, say if you're using a breaker, fair enough, but other than that, I don't see the logic of it. But yeah, I'm trying to struggle.